Hello Craftaholics, and if this is your first time here, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Peggy and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this pretty easy and very versatile little skinny notepad holder. Now this one isn't decorated, it's just my prototype, and I did learn a lot while making this. And the main thing was, for the pen loop I used ribbon. And I discovered, now I don't know if wired ribbon would work any better. I don't really think it would work in this application, but it's floopy. So my pen is like wobbling all around. If it's just going to sit on the desk, that's fine. But the finished one is actually going to go in my purse. And I don't want my pen flopping all over. So we're going to be using a little piece of cardstock instead there. But the neat thing about the pen loop is when you remove your pen, it acts as the lock. So all of this now opens up and there is your little notepad holder with just your pad in it. And we have a little pocket to hold, if you take it out like shopping, to hold receipts or whatnot in a little pocket. That's all there is to it. So let me show you how to make one. Put that aside. I'm going to keep the pen over here because that's the same one I'm going to use for this one. Paper-wise, I'm using one of the sheets from the Santa Claus Lane. And it is the one with all the ornaments on the other side. So we have one piece that is 11 inches long, and it is 8 1/8 inches high. Okay. This next one is, I believe it is 3 5/8. Yep, 3 5/8 wide, and it is 8 inches long. It may be a little bit less. I don't know. It looked like 8 inches. Let me see. It's 8 inches. It got cut a little bit short, but not a big deal. It won't really matter. And the third piece is this little teeny tiny one. And it is 3 inches long and 3/8 inches wide. Okay. Now, the most important thing, we put those two aside for right now. On your main piece, the important thing to remember is if you have a directional on one of the sides, if you're just using cardstock. And I'm just using cardstock. I'm not using like a thicker base because it's not going to be in my purse forever, probably just through Christmas. So I figured just cardstock is good enough. If you have a directional piece, okay, make sure you take it while it's facing up and flip it towards you to make your first cuts, okay? Because that way when it's done, it's going to be facing the right way when we go ahead and fold all our score lines. So the first thing that we're going to do, we want to get it, we're going to remove these pieces here, okay? So in order to, I'll bring that back in a minute, but in order to do that, let me put my eyes on, hold on. Okay, I'm just going to take a ruler and a pencil, if I can keep the lead on it without breaking it. And I am going to, from the right-hand side, I am going to measure in 2.5 inches, and I'm just going to make a little tick mark, and hopefully I'll be able to find that mark in a second. Okay, and then up at the top, I don't know, I have a hard time finding my pencil marks on stuff when it's darker. I don't know if you do also, but if you do, welcome to the club. Let's see, put another little tick mark there. And then I'm just, and you can also do this on, well, it wouldn't really work on the back. All right, scratch that, what I just said. Okay, we are going to line the ruler up. And I am just going to make, it doesn't look even to me, there we go. Just a really light line across my paper, okay. Now, on that line, I'm going to put my ruler again. Okay, and if you're going to make a lot of these, you can make a template and just trace where this spot goes. You don't have to do the measuring each time. We're going to put a mark at 1.5 and at 3. And then we're going to come down here and do another mark at 1.5 and at 3. Okay. Then all I'm going to do is attempt to find those marks. I'm going to line them up and then draw a line. Okay. Now, I know it's probably really, really hard to see. I don't have my camera set up to zoom, but my lines are there. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little cutting board. What we're doing is we're going to end up making it look like this shape, okay? And I will, well, I'll put that up there in a minute. Okay. Now all I'm doing, and I know you can't see the lines, and I'm really sorry about that, the pencil lines, but all I'm doing, I'm going to line up this little cutting mat. I got that at Dollar Tree, believe it or not, and it works pretty well, actually. And if this is your first time here, I know I have a huge cutting mat here, but for some reason it doesn't self-heal very well. So now I'm going to cut, I'm going to find my one line, and I'm just going to cut that down. And my ruler just moved, dagnabbit. Okay. And I'm going to cut that down to my other line. Okay. And all I'm going to do is my lines that marked, and again, I'm sorry that you can't see it. I didn't want to write it with anything darker on here. Okay. I'm just cutting out those sections that I showed you on the one little sample piece there. I'm just lining up my lines, and I'm just cutting. Okay. And this one decided to give me a little agita. Try to cut it from this way a little bit better. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, he flew off. There we go. Now, put those aside. Those are not needed anymore. I'll put this lid on just for right now. Okay. Oops. Sorry, things are falling. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to erase my little pencil line there that was marking that. Okay. Now, I'm going to put these both, let me put that aside for a second. If you want to do a screenshot, there is the one main thing that shows you exactly what to do with the page and where to cut out. So if you want to, go ahead and freeze the screen and take a picture. Okay. And once it's cut out, that is how your piece is going to look. All right, now let me get my scoreboard. And what we're going to do, we're going to take that first piece again, if I can pick it up. Okay. All right. And I'm going to score. Well, I can't get all this in the picture. Let me try. Okay, well. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, it's one of those days. I'm going to score at 1.5 and at 4, 4 1/4, 6 7/8. And I gave the one piece a little bit more room for the tablet. And then at 7 1, oh, it moved. 7 1/8. And then you're going to find the 9 1/2, and we're going to come down and we're going to score just that little tab at 9 1/2. Okay, let's put that aside. Our next piece, this is an easy one. We're just going to put it in portrait style and just score it 1/2 inch. Turn it once. Score it 1/2 inch. We're making a pocket. Turn it again and score it 1/2 inch. Put that one aside. Then our little BB piece, a little BB piece. If I can pick it up, there we go. I'm gonna put that in, and again, that is gonna get scored at 1/2 inch. And you can turn it and score it again at 1/2 inch. The only reason that I turn them is to get a true 1/2 inch, because sometimes if your paper's cut wonky or something, it won't be a whole 1/2 inch. It doesn't. It's just, you know, perfectionism. Not perfectionism, but I don't know. a phobia, we'll call it. Okay, so now that is what we just did. We just made all of these score lines. Okay, let me put that aside, and the first thing we're going to do is take our little pocket piece here, and I'm just going to cut out my corners. Actually, you know what? Let me burnish them first. It's a little bit difficult to see on a darker piece of paper. Sometimes your markings. So I'm going to go in, and I'm going right up to the corner, because it's not like I have to hide anything. Like, it's not like if I'm covering something and I need to leave like a little bit of space so the edge is covered. I'm just making a little pocket. So I just cut the corners out, simply cut them out. Okay, and then we can fold and burnish these a little bit better. This one, it doesn't matter what direction the back is facing, because you're only going to see the front anyway. Okay. Then our little guy, now I know normally I tell you to turn it over and to score, okay, if you've got your valley here, to turn it over and to fold the mountain in. But this time, I'm just going to tell you, just leave it like it is and just fold the valley, because it really doesn't matter which way you go. Okay, so we're just going to get those a little bent. And then I'm going to burnish all of these lines. And I'm sorry that they're kind of hard for you to see on this paper. It's just so dark. But all I'm doing is going to fold and burnish all of my lines. Like I said, now if you want to make it, if you're not making a Christmas theme one and you want one like for all year round, by all means, go ahead and grab like a heavier piece of cardstock and cut it out of that, like 80 or even 110 pound. I can do that one again. And then just cut your paper to mat the outside, and that would be fine too. Like I said, this is just for me, just for Christmas, just to have something that I can write notes on in my purse. So I'm not too concerned with it lasting a long time. Let's see. Okay, and then this last one is just that little flap right there. Okay. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is take some glue. This is actually barely art glue in a different bottle. I am going to glue this flap down. This is only doubled for stability. So there we go. Okay. And guys, I'm sorry it's so quiet. I've got, maybe for next year, I'll learn how to play soft music in the background. Who knows? I'm not very good at editing videos or anything, so I'm trying. And you know what else we're going to do? Well, we got the glue out and open. I'm going to, just on the little tips here, I'm going to put a dot on each one, just to kind of hold this down. Hopefully it's enough. It should be enough. There we go. Okay. Now we need to do a little bit more cutting. And this cutting is, it's not as easy as just a straight cut. It's not that hard, but I'm one of these people, and I this is why I struggle making my videos. I tend to make things a lot harder than they actually are. So I apologize for that, but that's why, again, a lot of times it's hard for me to make videos, because I need to like go, now what's the easy way to do this? There's got to be an easier way. But this one, I couldn't really figure one out too well. So you're stuck with it. Anyway, I am going to take my ruler, and I'm going to go in, let's see. I'm going to go in like, okay, I'm going to get my, this is a centering ruler, if you've never seen one before. You take the 0, and you line up next to it to get in the center, and then you know exactly where the center of your paper is. And again, I cut this by hand, so you never know, it might be off a little bit, and it probably is. So I'm going to find my center. I'm going to go in 3/8 of an inch, and I'm going to make a mark, a 1/2 inch mark. And I just went from 1/4 of an inch before the 0 and 1/4 inch after to get my 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to, like I said, this is really hard to see on this paper, but I am going to move my ruler up, and from that mark, I'm going to go up a 1/2 inch and make another line. What I'm doing is I'm making a 1/2 inch square box, is all I'm doing here. It's a little difficult to see. At least for me it is. And I'm right here. Okay. So I'm just doing a 1/2 inch box because I need to cut it out. Okay, we need to cut out like a 1/2 inch square. And hopefully you'll do better than I did on the other one. With my hands, it's kind of hard for me to do this part. But hopefully you'll do a little bit better than I did. And we're just going to cut that box out. So I hope everybody's doing good. Are you starting your Christmas crafting yet? And if you are, in the comments, let me know what you've been making. And let me know what you'd like to, if there's something you'd like to learn how to make, let me know. And I will try to do that for you and accommodate you. So that we can all have, like, our best Christmas yet. That'd be awesome. Okay, one more line. And hopefully these will connect and it will come out fine. Like I said, I have a really hard time doing this. And they did not. I am chopping up this paper something. Like I said, please do a better job than I'm doing right now. But that's why things like this, I have a tendency to do off air. Because it's really difficult for me to do them under pressure. So, and in case you are new here, I had an incident happen, a couple incidents happened last year, and they left me with only like half the use of my right arm, and I'm right-handed, so it makes things a lot more difficult to do now. But like I said, just cut yours a little bit better than I just did that one. Anyway, moving along, we are going to. Okay. Now you've got your little holder this way. We're going to take them and slide both sides over. So if it's sitting up like this, I'm going to slide them both over. Because this way, they both have the same 1/4 inch gusset. As long as you slide it, they're going to be lined up. So we're going to take them both, slide it to the left. Okay. Then all I'm going to do is take my pencil, and in the middle of my square, I'm going to make a line right there. Okay. Now, I know it's not as hard as it looks, trust me. All I'm going to do is around that little line, I'm going to cut it out. I think I may need a new knife blade. That could be my problem. But okay. All right. So now this is what you have. Okay. Move that aside. Now what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is take our little slip of paper and decide which way you want it to go. I'm just going to keep it with the green on the outside because I think that's fine. For me, it's fine. Now, where the bend is, the first bend is, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn this over and get some more glue. You can also use tape for this part, it's fine. It does not matter. But I'm just using glue today. Put some glue there. And I'm going to put that fold basically right on the edge of my little slit there. And glue it. And you know what? I did it the wrong way. Okay. Rewind. You're going to have to face it upward. I don't know what I was thinking. Turn it over. And again, still though, we're going to match that line right up to the edge of the slit. So make sure that the top of your paper is facing down. Okay. And now it's all kind of mushy with glue because, all right. We are going to, now, so it gets a little bit tricky. Not too bad, but a little bit tricky. Feed your paper through the slot. Okay. If you can. Okay. Like that. And I'm going to press that down and make sure that it... Okay. Now, we're going to make a loop with this. And I'm going to use my pen. You can actually take it if you... It's probably the easier way because it's a lot longer than it really needs to be, but, you know, it's all good. Okay. I'm going to put my pen over the loop, and I'm going to bring it back down, and I'm going to feed it back down through the hole. So I'm basically making the pen loop with the pen in it. Okay. Like that. And you don't want to pull it too tight because you don't know if that's the pen you're going to... If it's a pen you're going to be using all the time... and tighten it up a little bit more, but you can leave it a little bit loose if you need to. But okay, so now I've got that around there, and I'm going to just, you can either flip it that way, or I'm just going to flip it over this way and just glue it down. Okay, and I only started with the longer piece because you don't really know your pen loop like until you measure it and everything. So just a better way to... Now, once you have that down, you can actually take your pen out. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. Okay. Take your pen out. And line everything up and let that dry. Now, what I'm going to do is, for things going in, I mean, you can cover that with something if you want to, but you can't see that. You only see a little tiny piece. I'm going to take some Scotch tape, and I'm going to put it over that tab. Just so whatever I put in this pocket, it doesn't get hung up on the little piece of paper should something happen. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to take our glue again, and we're just going to put a little bit of glue on each end of our paper to close up our pocket. So I told you it's pretty simple. And now you see why we started with the paper with the directional going this way, because that's the top now of your little book. Okay. And it doesn't matter if this gets mushed down. It's just, it'll be fine. Trust me. Okay. Now, like I told, oh, well, it did not stick, sadly. Now we're going to, and again, you can use tape on this part if you want to. I'm just going to use some of the glue. We're just going to put some adhesive of your choice on the flaps. And now what you're going to do is make sure it's centered in this section. So right between your score lines. And put that down. And then just make sure before you press it down really, really well, just make sure that the sides come up on both sides. Okay. And then you can kind of burnish that down there with your fingers to make it stick. Okay. Now we've got that done so far. And in this where it's white, like on mine, I could actually take an alcohol marker or something that can go along the sides or some ink or something to cover up the white if that bothers you. Now for the pad. Put that aside for a minute. Let everything dry, and that's good. Okay. I bought these little legal pads at Dollar Tree. And there's 3 in a stack. And all you have to do is separate them at the cardboard. Put that one back over there. Okay. They're 5 inches wide, so we're going to be using a 2.5 inch little tablet. So I just lined mine up. It's not working so well. I'm going to, I'm going to do it right on this one because I had better lines. That one's a little too small for me to use for this. Okay, what I did to make it easier for me, I lined it up on my cutting mat, okay? And then, well, actually, let me go half inch. So I have a line right in the middle. It's a little cheating trick. Okay. So now that line is right in the middle. I am going to line my ruler up. And this is a Tim Holtz ruler. It has a metal edge that is made for cutting against. And I just have a box cutter. You can use the finger blade. It just takes a lot longer to go through something like this. And you want to start at the top because otherwise the pages will get mangled as you're cutting. But just a couple passes through do it. A little bit of pressure, not a lot. And don't try to go through on one pass, not even two. Just do it nice and easy until you get all the way through. Okay, now you have 2 skinny pads. Pretty simple. Put one aside. And, oh, I don't even have a cut line. That's awesome. Okay. Now we're going to grab our little holder again. And all you do, like I said, this is so simple. You just take your pad and you slide it down in the pocket. It'll hold it nice and secure. Okay. Bring this over. Make sure your loop goes through the square. And then take your pen. And there you go. Nice little closed little notepad. And it doesn't wiggle as much as it did with the ribbon. It might jiggle a little bit, but it pretty much stays in place. So the only other thing I'm going to do, these are the puffy stickers from the collection that we're using. If I can pull them out of here. They're kind of stuck in there. Ugh. Okay. That's why I forgot I stuck them down on there. No wonder they wouldn't come out. I'm just going to find... I like the little snow globe. I wonder if it'll fit. If it's too wide. It's a little too wide for there. Darn it. Okay. So, but we can take like the tree. I could put the Christmas tree there. You don't want to do a whole lot of decorating because you don't want it to get, unless, like I said, it's going to sit out on a desk. Then that's totally different. But like I said, this is going to be my purse, and I don't want so much stuff that things are going to get tangled. You know, that wouldn't be good. And we could put a couple little snowflakes. There's a red one, a green snowflake. And, you know what, that's all I'm going to do to it. Like I said, it's going to be in my purse. But that is our little notepad holder. I hope you like it. And if you did like this video, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to know whenever I upload a video. And please like this video because it really does help me get noticed on YouTube. And share it with a crafty friend. And I guess that's all we have for today. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.